Hey, Mr. Mayor, we are live and ready.
Okay, sounds good. I will go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's the regular meeting of the Seldovia City Council, Monday, November 13th, 2023. Time is 6:03 p.m. And we'll go ahead and have roll call. Kennedy is going to be absent. Swick.
Here.
Peyton. And she is going to be joining us late. Keithley.
Here.
Langbart.
Here.
Rojas.
Here.
Okay, so we do have 4 in attendance, so we do have a quorum. Okay, Liz or Heidi, if one of you can go ahead and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. All right, as we previously mentioned, excused absences tonight will be Kennedy, with Peyton joining us here shortly, hopefully. Item D, agenda approval. We'll go and look for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second. Yeah, we have a second from Keithley.
Okay, yep. We have a motion by Rojas to approve tonight's agenda with a second by Keithley. Any further discussion on the agenda before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the approval of tonight's agenda. All those in favor, Swick.
Aye.
Keithley.
Aye.
Langbart.
Aye.
Rojas.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 4 in the affirmative and 2 currently absent. All right, tonight's consent agenda, it's item E. Consent agenda, all items under the consent agenda are approved with a single motion, no discussion, and 1 vote. A council member may request to remove any item for discussion and a separate vote. Items removed from the consent agenda will be placed under new business. Excuse me. Tonight's consent agenda consists of item E1, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting from October 23rd, 2023. Item E2, which is ordinance introduction, ordinance 24-04, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Seldovia, Alaska, amending Seldovia Municipal Code Title 17, Section 17.04.020, building permits to include a public hearing process for adverse topographical impacts. Item E3, there's 2 resolutions. Resolution 24-15, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Seldovia supporting full funding of $7,644,677 for the State of Alaska Municipal Harbor Facility Grant Program in the FY 2025 state capital budget. The second resolution is Resolution 24-16, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Seldovia, Alaska, authorizing a memorandum of agreement between the Kenai Peninsula Borough and the cities of Kachemak, Kenai, Homer, Seldovia, Seward, and Soldotna for a joint exercise of a tourism promotion and authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute the appropriate documents. That's everything on the consent agenda tonight. Does any item, or excuse me, does any member wish to remove any item for discussion separately at this time?
Mr. Mayor, if I may ask the city clerk a question, please.
Yep, go ahead, Vivian.
Yeah, city clerk, were you able to answer my question about the 1 change in the minutes that I saw?
Yes, if you just want to briefly explain the change, then there's no discussion on it. We can go ahead and vote on it with the consent agenda as amended.
Okay, yeah, if I may, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, go ahead, Vivian. Absolutely.
It was just during our comment period of the resolution about the king salmon snagging issue. The last comment that was written down was not clear. And so we were changing that where it said that because the fish are showing up earlier, that's why we wanted to have an earlier snagging opening, which is incorrect. It was that the king salmon are staying in the lagoon earlier in the season. That's all.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Yep. I'm good with that. If administratively, no objections on that. Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments? Anyone else want to have any other items, any further discussion or any item removed for separate discussion? Okay. Hearing none, we'll go ahead and I'll look for a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
We'll make a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Rojas to approve tonight's consent agenda with a second by Swick. Any further discussion on the consent agenda before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the approval of tonight's consent agenda. All those in favor, Swick,
Aye.
Keithley,
Aye.
Langbart,
Aye.
Rojas.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes for 4 in the affirmative and 2 absent. Okay, it takes us down to item F, mayoral proclamations. None this evening. Item G, public presentation prior notice. I don't think we've had anybody sign up for that slot. Is that correct, Liz?
Yeah, correct, Mr. Mayor. We have no one signed up for that slot.
Okay. Item H, public presentations for items not on the agenda. Do we have anyone that wishes to speak on that has previously signed up?
No, we don't have anyone previously signed up to speak on that either.
Okay, sounds good. Item I, committee and advisory board reports. And I believe we do have Lisa Stanish in attendance tonight from the SOC.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me, Mr. Mayor?
Yep, got you loud and clear, Lisa.
All right. I just want to do a little brief SOC report because this SOC is a portion of the city in our little love triangle that we have. So what's been happening at the SOC recently? A lot of things have been going on. So been continuing with a lot of after school programming Monday and Tuesday. Monday is K2, Tuesday is 3 through 6. Wednesday and Thursday is turned into drama club, which has been a really good time. Just kind of getting the kids. We do a lot of improv games and have a lot of fun doing improv games and kind of getting them prepared for a community performance, which will actually be happening here in December. The SOC has signed on to partner with the Susan B. English School and SVT to provide the annual holiday program that the school provides. Typically the school provides, but as we're in sort of some unprecedented situations with the school and homeschool and the SOC, we wanted to come up with a way to include everybody to be able to make this really great community program happen. So Laurel Hiltz is involved on the SVT side to get a bunch of, she's been doing a music class with the Susan B. English students during the school day. She's also working with a group through the chapel and doing a lot of singing with the chapel. And she's hoping to get in any homeschool students who are interested in music and singing. And then kind of combine that with what the SOC has been doing through Drama Club. I have the middle school kids gave the SOC an idea during Drama Club of what they would like to see happen for the Christmas program. So I took their suggestions and am working on creating a mishmash program that they had come up with. So it's been a lot of fun and a lot of work, but we're pulling it off. This Thursday is kind of the big casting call for everyone to get involved with that program. And I think it's going to be a great partnership between the SOC, the SVT, and the school. So looking really forward to that. The program will be December 14th. And we're just kind of at the beginning stages of getting that all put together. So outside of that, the SOC is still working with the Kenai Peninsula Borough School District to update the tennis sport court, which has been something that we vetted through the SURSA and the SOC with our fund balance that we have right now. We have a bit of an overage in our fund balance that we would like to figure out how to spend. And through several communications through SURSA with the community, it turned out that the Susan B. English tennis court is something everybody really wants to see improved as a recreational asset within the community. So we've been working with the school district and borough maintenance to upgrade that site. I do have new tennis posts, which they were briefly put in this fall, but they've been pulled for the winter. So those will be able to do two new tennis posts and tennis nets. The rebound backboard wall will be replaced for one court. And that should be happening here before the snow flies, to be able to get that backboard back up so we can do singles tennis and some tennis instruction through the SOC until the ice gets too bad. But we really are happy to see the upgrades happen for that recreational asset for the community. Other things that are happening at the SOC will be the annual Black Friday craft fair, which will happen obviously the day after Thanksgiving. And so programming continues. People have been renting the building for private rentals for their families. Lots of action with kids in the community up at the center, and we're having a really good time. So if anybody has any questions as to what the SOC provides for the community, I'm happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you, Lisa. Anyone have any questions for Lisa?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yep, go ahead, Vivian.
Yeah, no questions, but I appreciate the report, and it sounds like there's great things going on at the SOC and the SURSA, so I appreciate that. Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, Vivian. Anyone else? Go ahead, Meg.
Okay, just a comment. Thank you, Lisa, and thank you to Laurel Hiltz for providing those services. Parents really appreciate what you guys are offering.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I think that's it. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate you coming in, giving the update. Lots of stuff. Sounds like lots of good stuff's happening. So always good to see that program is being run good and correctly, and that people are participating. Obviously means a lot to the community, and it's nice to have a place to go and additional outlet for families and kids to do recreational stuff, as well as other things that are good for the community. Appreciate all your efforts and everything that you do there.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move down to item J, administrative reports.
We have none tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Item K, public hearings. Looks like nothing. Item L, unfinished business, none. Item M1, resolution 24-17, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Seldovia, Alaska, requesting support from the Kenai Peninsula Borough School District Small Schools Committee to prioritize and ensure quality, equitable, and sustainable education for small schools, and for further consideration and planning support for those small schools who are also located off the road system. We'll go ahead and turn that over to staff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This came about in discussion with Councilmember Rojas and Councilmember Swick, so they are listed as the sponsors. I believe Councilmember Rojas had a chance to review, but I'm not sure if Councilmember Swick did. So please let me know if you want anything changed from anybody in the council, or if you do not want to be the sponsor of this resolution, Councilmember Swick. For Resolution 24-17, page 32, we came about this in discussion of really just things that had been heard from a previous PAC community meeting that with administration, we had Clayton Holland, the superintendent, and Eric Peterson, the director of elementary education, come to our community. We've had a discussion on the council level at the last meeting. And of course, then there's input from parents throughout the community and staff from the school, and just things that are happening up there that, ways that potentially could help support the school as a city and as a community moving forward. When looking at the small schools committee, it was right up their mission statement and what they are trying to accomplish, and they were implemented in the last spring of 2023, really encompassed what it was that the community was asking for. So it seemed appropriate to reach out and write a resolution to them, just asking them to continue to further their mission and continue to work to support these small schools. Under the third whereas, you can see that their charge, as they call it, is the Small Schools Committee reviews and makes recommendations to the board regarding measures that can benefit small schools and suggests ways to acknowledge the strengths and overcome unique challenges, as well as improve collaboration between the district and communities to share ideas to better support students. Such recommendations would be made to ensure that small schools are staffed adequately, offered additional support for staff through collaboration with specialists and or other KPBSD staff, provided reliable and varied distance education opportunity for students, supported in addressing the unique social needs of rural students, increasing place-based educational opportunities and partnerships. And in the whereas before that, you can see that the other part of their charge is due to the nature of small schools with unique locations and challenges, there is a particular importance to propose innovative solutions to support students in their education. So the intent of this resolution is just to help provide some of those innovative solutions, some of those things that the community is looking at that could benefit. And you'll see those bullet points. I can read them out if it helps, but really, I think it's trying to just address what we need and what they are trying to accomplish as a committee. And I'll leave that up to Councilmember Rojas or Councilmember Swick if they would like to discuss it more.
Okay, thank you, Heidi. Appreciate that. Council members Swick or Rojas, you guys have any comments?
Mr. Mayor. Yeah, Mr. Mayor. No, I think this isn't adequate, and I hope the council agrees that it's a good resolution to put forward with the concerns that the community, the council have put forth. But I'm totally happy and in support of it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Vivian. Anyone else with any additional comments on resolution 24-17? Jen?
Yeah, I kind of got locked out of my email for a few weeks, but I did finally look at this a couple days ago. And I do like how you changed it to the Small Schools Committee. I think that's where we need to start. Obviously they made that committee to address issues like this, and hopefully, they did listen to our complaining. And hopefully they'll continue to help us out and realize that, yeah, there are issues that need to be addressed. You know, our kids matter and our school matters. So, yeah, I like it.
Thanks, Jen. Anyone else? Yeah, I'll just offer a quick comment. I know we had our last meeting, we had a very robust discussion on the state of our school and the education in Seldovia. And yeah, obviously we have a long way to go and many things to address. I think this is a small step in the right direction. And obviously we need a lot more public advocacy from the community, from the city, parents, anyone involved with you know, getting children educated. So yeah, this is a good piece of work, and appreciate the effort that went into getting this taken care of. Anyone else before we go to public? Okay. Do we have anyone in the public that's already registered that would like to speak on resolution 24-17?
We have no one who has signed up online to speak. If you want.
Okay.
We do have Lisa Stanish in the room who would like to speak.
Okay, sounds good. Go ahead, Lisa.
Or put it back on.
Okay, now I'm on. Yeah, thank you guys for putting this resolution together. I think it's really important to make sure that the Small Schools Committee and the Kenai Peninsula Borough School District as a whole understands and feels that the community has an equitable desire for our community, our community school to thrive. And that is it's an important thing. So we've definitely had some challenging situations over the year. Not the first time that it's happened, I'm sure, in a school, but it's taken a lot of time to remedy what we started with this school year. And just remembering that Susan B. English is a fantastic facility with now teachers and people who care doing the best that they can do to educate the local children. I really want that to be a glaring understanding in town, is that the people who are there are working really hard to make it happen. The Small Schools Administrator and the Small Schools Committee, it would be really nice if we saw more of them here in town, and perhaps this resolution will help them to understand that it is incredibly important for our school to thrive, and to be able to support our community with what they need, which is public education, and it needs to be equitable and cared for. So thank you for your resolution. I hope that it helps out in the long run. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. Appreciate your comments. Okay, anyone else, Liz, or we good?
Nope, that's all we have in the room.
Okay, sounds good. All right, we'll go ahead and bring it back to council for final action tonight on resolution 24-17.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve resolution 24-17.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Keithley to accept resolution 24-17 and a second by Rojas. Any further discussion on this before we vote? Okay, hearing none, and I will just one comment for the record. I see that Councilmember Peyton has joined us, so we are now up to 5 total in attendance with one absent. So, okay, hearing no further discussion and the question's been called, we'll go ahead and vote on the approval of Resolution 24-17. All those in favor, Swick,
Aye.
Peyton,
Aye.
Keithley,
Aye.
Langbart,
Aye.
Rojas.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes with 5 in the affirmative, 1 absent. And that was the approval of resolution 24-17. Thank you, everyone. Okay, next item tonight will be item M2. Item M2 will be resolution 24-18. And that's a resolution of the City Council of the City of Seldovia, Alaska, supporting development of a waterfront ice rink on city property. Legal description, CT8SR14W, section 31, Seward Meridian. And that is 0670030 waterfront resub number 1, lots 4 through 9, block 4, in partnership with the City of Seldovia, Seldovia Recreational Service Area, and the Sea Otter Community Center. That's a mouthful. And we'll go ahead and turn that over to staff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will turn this over to Councilmember Keithley, who sponsored this resolution. We also have Lisa Stanish in the room, who is the coordinator for the Sea Otter Community Center. And we have our source of treasurer, Liz Diamond. So I will turn it over to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. So if you guys have read through this resolution, which hopefully you have, you'll see that this has been something I started proposing last spring, just trying to figure out how to better create a community space in the wintertime for not just kids, but the entire community to enjoy ice skating when we have it. It's something that has been a big part of my life. So I had the passion to try to bring it to the community after seeing that we only tend to have limited time when the weather is just perfect. So after racking my brain, I came up with the idea of doing more of a backyard style ice rink and tried to figure out the best way to structure it for the community to have good access, safety, and also to make sure that we've got insurance coverage and how that works. Many municipalities in Alaska and in the Midwest do this often. So I went to the CIRSA board to see if this was something they were interested in. It was something they had talked about many times in the past, which excited me, and they got excited, and they just needed somebody, it sounded like, to move forward and find out those nitty-gritties of how to start such project and how any partnership would work. And so after seeing our city lot there at the waterfront and it being a nice communal space, and after speaking with Lisa with the SOC and the city and realizing that we could create this partnership where we have the insurance coverage, we have a way to potentially have funds to come in to create this space and, build it over time. I presented this, and we hope to have this partnership agreement to move forward also with a request of funding through CIRSA. As Lisa had mentioned, some of that surplus fund, and they're wanting to utilize that for recreational assets. And this is a great way. We have the tennis courts, and, without having to reinvent the wheel on a new place, this is a way that we can, at a decently low cost, have another recreational asset. So if you guys have any questions, I can either answer them, or if I can't, Lisa's here tonight and can answer them if I don't have the answer.
Thank you, Ashley. Any questions so far?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Vivian.
Yeah, so for clarification, you're talking about the old cannery lot to kind of board it up and then fill it with water and then freeze it and maintain it that way. Is that the concept?
Correct. Yeah. And so the idea, when I say backyard style rink, it's just that it's nothing that would have a chiller system or anything like that. But something that would be better with our variable weather conditions to be safe. And also it would potentially be more consistent than being able to skate out on the lake, because we do tend to go above freezing so often. You'll end up with much larger cracks in the ice out there, and the conditions are not always as safe for everybody. And so what you'll see that's attached to this, the fund request, it would actually be to purchase this system that you see there that's made by Easy Ice. And these are actually utilized by a lot of the municipalities and different areas that set up on outdoor surfaces. And what's great about them is they last a lot longer than when you're building something out of wood. And so year after you can use them. They can be moved to a different area. The size, the shape can be changed, and they can also be built upon each other. So over the years, if this is something where we want to make it bigger, change the shape, you can add on to the system. And it also is easy to put up and take down. It's supposed to take less than an hour, which is also another thing, because I was looking at trying to make sure this is not something that's going to take a lot of manpower. I have a large list of almost 20 people, and I know there's more that have been interested in also just kind of being the volunteer staff to maintain, go out there if it snows and make sure to shovel it off and keep their eye on it. And it's going to be kind of like a community cooperative in a sense, at least for now.
Right. Yeah, I'm in support. I think it's a great idea. What sort of dimensions are you talking about doing there? And then also, here's a question of, when you're flooding, running water, freezing the water, how much water runoff are we going to have? Has that been taken into consideration where that water is going to go?
Yeah. So good question. So the size for right now, what we're proposing is a 60 by 100 foot for the regular rink, and that would fit in that lot there right next to the building parallel. That's where that 100 feet would go. And so those ends with the nets are facing the water side and the street side. And then the shorter boards, at least that's what I have in this budget right now, is shorter boards on the side. Later, we could always do bigger, or depending on how the fund request comes through, those are on the building sides. And then I did also throw in here because the cost was not very much, and because the systems are interchangeable, a small kid rink, which would only be 15 by 30, that would go right next to that. Just my thought with having a space that when, dads are going to play hockey and they're on there playing a game, then there'd be a space for the littles to still just tootle around on the ice. And then let's see, what was your other question, Vivian?
Water, when that water.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the way that this system works, or even if we end up not with this system and we create one for this year, depending on the funding timing, is you utilize a thick visqueen. And so it's filled up kind of like a shallow pond. So you're not going to get any runoff from that. And that's what's great about this with our varying temperatures, is that if we end up above freezing for a week and it melts or semi-melts, it's staying there. We're not having to redo everything. We're not losing that water. And then at the end of the season, that's actually a great question. I didn't think of exactly where that would go, but we could, essentially hose and siphon it off slowly as it melts over the side there, or wherever it would make sense to drain that off. I don't have the figures of exactly how many gallons. It is a lot of water, but that's also what's great, is it's a one-time thing, filling it up. And there is the fire hydrant right there that will allow us to do that actually a lot more efficiently than a lot of places that have to just hook up to regular spigot.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. So just thinking through a couple things. So it'd be parallel, it'd be on the backside of the value-added building there, running parallel with that thing. Currently, so what do we have down there? We probably need some additional lighting, right? maybe on the side of the value added building or something that would go down. I mean, I'm obviously in total 100% support of this thing. I had like 2 steps thinking about like bleachers and all the good stuff.
Right. Well, and that's what
Zamboni
about it.
We need a
There's-
Zamboni.
that's what's great is that, every year as things go, it can grow. And I tried to really start small, but then when I started to see the partnership opportunity with Sursa, I was like, well, let's start with something that is, sustainable and also not going to just be Jimmy rigged together the first year. But yes, lights are definitely going to be something because it's dark early and we want it to be utilized. And so that's something that we've actually already put out estimates on the cost to put lights on, because the value added building is having was having estimates done anyways for other lights to be fixed that are broken, and some that are on or that need to be on motion sensors or things so they're not blaring into people's houses. So that is something that getting some lights on that other side of the building is being looked at right now. And that's the other thing is the proposed area. That just was the committee that of some gentlemen that when I wasn't sure if we're going to have to build it or who's putting it together, one being my husband and Will being another person who's on our city staff. They work together on kind of deciding what the first year would be good for the dimension and where to put it. It can be moved. And that's what's great is it can be, if we don't like that, if it doesn't work for the snow path or whatnot, it can be changed.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. Yeah, no, I think just my comments. I think I'm looking at all the information with the main rink, the kids rink, and what this thing looks like. I could just envision it there with, fair, easy parking in that area. A great spot in town with some lighting. I mean, holy cow, for easy access. That would be an amazing thing to use down in that part of town to get some life down there. And I think it'd be super exciting and a great opportunity for our community to have something like this. I know there's a pretty good little following of people that like to play hockey, and it's a little bit of a ordeal to get set up over there on Lake Susan, where something like this could be maintained way easier and a lot more readily available for folks to use. And then you could control the quality of the ice too, if it needed an extra ½ inch of water from time to time or whatever, just, in terms of ice quality and stuff. So yeah, I'm totally in support.
And one other thing I will add in, because it didn't get brought up, but when it comes to ice skating, because you mentioned having the access for everybody, that sometimes it can be limited access for people if they don't have the equipment. And that's something I've taken into consideration too. And so I'm working on trying to make sure that we can start to create a stock of skates and safety equipment too that can be checked out, hopefully free of charge, kind of a little system. And I should have by the end of December, I already have like over 3 tubs of kid-size skates that I'll be bringing back to Seldovia from the Scotty Gomez Foundation that they said they'll donate to us. So working on that so that it will be something that everyone can use.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure with the inaugural spaghetti feed fundraiser, we could also come up with plenty of funding additional funding for loaner stuff. So pretty cool. Meg, you had a comment?
Yeah, I'm in full support, Ashley, and thank you for going ahead with that and just planning for an ice rink to happen. It could also be potential space for venues in the wintertime for, I don't know, bazaar, or just for people to have some booths up there. That would be cool with the proper lighting and the space. I know that would be a great way for the community to get together.
Oh, sounds good. Anyone else? Questions on resolution 24-18?
So along the through the mayor, can I chime in?
Go ahead, Harmony.
Sorry. So just to build off what Muggs is saying in your bleacher comment, can we utilize some of the benches that get like pulled in for the winter? Obviously they're pulled in to maintain, to keep them for the long term, but maybe along the building there where those picnic tables could go. I don't know. Obviously, this is a great plan. I've been watching it evolve. I really love it. I love the totes idea. I have some equipment that I would love to donate to your library that my kids have grown out of, and I don't have to store out of guilt. You can store them. Yeah, this is really wonderful. Actually, I love that you guys are putting this together. Yeah, look forward to seeing it evolve.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Harmony. I have a question. Of course, this will be I'm sure this is the back of everyone's mind, just to confirm or just see where we're at. So on the resolution lines 24, let's see here, where are we at? 26, 27, whereas the CRSA has a large fund balance that could support the construction of the rink and utilize funds in the yearly fiscal budget to maintain the infrastructure. So are you guys implying that CRSA has enough to cover this, or is there a contribution we'd be looking for from the city, or what's the bottom line on this?
If I could chime in here, Mr. Mayor, this is Lisa.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, so the CRSA at this time does have a rather large fund balance. 30,000 of that has been allocated towards the Susan B. English Sport Court. We're not going to be using all of those funds. That was the large amount there came from the possibility of resurfacing the court, which we don't need to do. So that saved us. Well, we wouldn't have been able to do that because that was over $100,000 bid. So we're just going to be doing reseaming the court, which shouldn't be over 10,000. So what we have already allocated for our sport court community recreation asset, we can put back at least 10,000 of that, which will look good to the assembly, that we did not utilize all of those. So right now I'm looking at almost $125,000 in our fund balance at this point, which is way more than we need to hold. Definitely need to have, 50,000 or so in that fund balance in case we have a fire, we need a new roof, some of those things. So that's what that fund balance is typically there for. But with this extra large fund that we have, trying to find ways in the community to set up recreational assets. This is something the CRSA has discussed. And so what I see, typically my history with the assembly is that they like to have one project out at a time. So right now we have the sport court project happening, but if we're going to be returning some of that money to them, they might be interested in saying, okay, well, we'll go ahead and do the second. I really don't know. But we do have funding, and so it would be funding that could pay for the boards, the visqueen for below, which is something the visqueen needs to be replaced every year. So that is a cost that will be accrued every year. But it's not that much money, and
I want to say it's about $1,500 for the large rink. And if we have a large rink and then like a smaller one, you can reutilize the bigger one, they said, usually for like the smaller one the next year, or just save it for whatever you might need.
So that cost itself is something that the CRSA could accrue out of our regular funds, our regular operational funds throughout the year. $1,500 is not a problem for the CRSA to be able to support this recreational asset for the community. So therefore it wouldn't come from the city. For setup and our initial cost for paying for the boards and the visqueen, we may want to go with, and I'm just thinking because it has to go through the ordinance process to allocate these funds. So obviously two borough assembly meetings. We're in November. So there's one in November and one in December typically. So I'm not going to be seeing any funds that could be allocated through the system until January or February. So if we do, I know Ashley has a huge group of people who are really interested in just getting this thing started. So if we want to start with, say, some wood boards and some visqueen and create a viable space, make sure that we know that this area is viable, because there are a lot of temperature issues. There's a lot of wind that comes off the water in this area. So we should make sure that this is a viable place before we go to the assembly and say, hey, we want this bigger amount of money for this recreational asset for the city. If we have, say, this resolution, we have a history over this winter saying, we've done this, it's a viable place. I think it would be really easy to persuade the borough to say, yeah, well, you can use that in your fund balance. I'm still willing to do it without that, but I know that there is motivation to get this to going this year. And if folks are motivated to get it going this year, I would say we should do that outside of CSRSA funding. But then knowing that, yes, there is this fund balance and there is this yearly coffer that we can depend on through the CSRSA to maintain it. It just seems like a win. And we have this great recreational asset for our community. So if anybody has any other questions on the CSRSA side, Liz is our treasurer. She can answer some questions too. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate. Yeah, no, that answered my questions and understanding the process. So, yep, no, that all seems to make sense, and still definitely in support of whichever way we go. But yeah, by supporting the resolution, that would show our commitment from the city side that we're willing to give that space a try and see how this all goes and get the ball rolling. So. Okay, anyone else? Any additional comments, questions before we go to the public?
Mr. Mayor, if I can just clarification, please.
Yep, go ahead, Vivian.
Yeah, so for clarification purposes, what I'm hearing is the CSRSA is and fundraising, it sounds like, are going to be the financial supporters of the ring, and the city of Seldovia's in kind, as we say, is going to be the space use. The city of Seldovia is not expected to put up any monetary amounts. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Except lights, sorry, because the lights would be an addition to the value added building and that space as a whole.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds good. Anyone else? Okay. Liz, anyone from just to catch me here, we didn't go to the public yet, right?
No, we did not.
Okay. Anyone online that has previously signed up?
We don't have anyone signed up online, and we don't have any more public comments in the room.
Okay, great. We'll go ahead and bring it back to council for final action tonight on resolution 24-18.
I'll make a motion that we accept resolution 24-18.
I'll go ahead and second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Rojas to accept resolution 24-18 with a second by Langbart. Any additional discussion on the resolution before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the approval of resolution 24-18. All those in favor: Swick,
Aye.
Payton,
Aye.
Keithley,
Aye.
Langbart,
Aye.
Rojas.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes with 5 in the affirmative, 1 absent, and that is the approval of resolution 24-18. Thank you, everyone, for that discussion. Move on down to item M3, resolution 24-19, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Seldovia, Alaska, adopting the 2024 through 2029 capital improvement program and establishing capital project legislative priorities for fiscal year 2025. And I believe we'll just open this up. We just had the work session on this. Sounds like there's a little bit more work to do during the work session that we established, and had asked the city administration to update a few of our costs. And then we were going to have that brought back to us at the next meeting for final action and final ranking of those items. But we can, Heidi, anything additional you want to add?
That is all, Mr. Mayor. So if you guys want to move to postpone it, then it can come back at the next meeting.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, we can go ahead and look for a motion at this time to postpone to time certain.
I make a motion that we postpone resolution 24-19 to our next council meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to postpone resolution 24-19 to a time certain of next meeting. That was by Keithley. I think the second was that by Rojas. Okay, second by Rojas. Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote on the motion to table resolution 24 or postpone resolution 24-19 to the next meeting. All those in favor: Swick,
Aye.
Peyton,
Aye.
Keithley,
Aye.
Langbart,
Aye.
Rojas.
Aye.
Okay, motion to postpone passes, 5 in the affirmative, 1 absent. Okay. Next item M4, resolution 24-20, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Seldovia, Alaska, resolution of the City Council. Let's see, what do we got here? We got a little bit of a typo there. Okay, let me start over. Resolution 24-20, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Seldovia, Alaska, authorizing participation in the 2023 Community Development Block Grant Program. And we'll turn that over to staff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I apologize for that. It was just me in the office last week, and I need Liz apparently. I'm glad to have her back. I'll just put it that way. So this is the final page of packet, page 40. And this is part of the CDBG process. We had to have a public hearing that talked about those projects and showed community consensus to go for one project. That project chosen was the raw water transmission line. The additional funding needed on top of the appropriations request. Currently, we have $516,780,000 in funding available through those FY23 congressional direct spending appropriations through Murkowski's office. We did reach out to her office 2 weeks ago and requested a technical correction to combined funding from the Block Street Sewer project and the raw water transmission line project for just the raw water transmission line, in hopes to have a whole project that can be moved forward. With those funds combined, it'd be $1,066,000 available, leaving a little bit of a gap. Of the overall project is estimated to be $1,620,000 based on 2024 construction figures. So from the CDBG, we would be requesting $554,000. And the application is due by December 1st. This is a very tight deadline. If this is approved tonight, I've already been working on it, but it'll be full steam ahead. So there may be some shut doors in the office this week and late nights, but I do feel confident that we can get this out by midweek next week in order to be
it has to be either mailed or hand delivered. So in order for it to be mailed, the application process it's a little bit, it's big, but it is kind of just a fill-in application, and we have all those pieces. So it's like a 20 plus page application, and then like a 40 plus appendix with this resolution and the other pieces that go together. So I do feel like it's obtainable, and if funding doesn't come through from this program, we have other sources that we can look at, such as the Denali Commission and the State Revolving Fund. But this is our first attempt to try to fill that gap and complete this project as a whole.
Hey, thank you. We'll open it up for questions, comments from council.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead, Vivian.
Yeah, I'm in full support of resolution 24-20. And thank you very much to our city manager, who's going to do a lot of work in a short period of time to make this happen. I appreciate the time you're going to be putting in. It's a great program, and I hope we get funded. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Vivian. Anyone else? Okay, I'll just add on real quick. Yep, totally in support of resolution 24-20. Yeah, just to go back, it was unfortunate on the cost escalations, as everyone knows. So the technical correction, that's definitely the way to go. We know we need to get that line replaced, and then obviously if we can find a way, this seems like a viable option for sure, to get the additional funding we need to move forward and get our transmission line project taken care of. So I'm definitely in support of this, and I hope everyone else agrees. Any further comments, questions, and before we go to public comment?
Yeah, I do real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Maybe I missed this. So we applied for the correction. Was that granted, or do we not know that yet?
We do not know that yet. So this is a little bit of a cart before the horse. But I have confidence that it will be granted. The EPA seemed to think that has been pretty easy to work with Murkowski's office and then the federal administration to make these changes. And I spoke with the city manager for the city of Soldotna last week during a meeting, who successfully just went through this process and was able to combine funding for one of their projects. So this is something that they are seeing pretty regularly come out of communities with the big increase in cost for construction with inflation. And it seems like they're pretty well versed in accepting and moving forward with these corrections. If not, well, it will have been, we'll at least have a application ready for future funding opportunities for a larger amount. So I don't think it'll be wasted, but it's a start.
Right. Do we do you know when we would find out?
Yes, it takes about a month. So we put it in after the last council meeting. I put it in the following day. That was October 24th. So I would imagine we'll hear by the end of this month.
Oh,
hopefully before this application goes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any additional questions, comments? Okay, Liz, anyone from the online that has previously signed up?
We have no one that has previously signed up online.
Okay, anyone from the audience?
No one in the audience for comment.
All right, sounds good. We'll go ahead and bring it back to council. And this is item M4, resolution 24-20. We'll bring it back to council for final action tonight.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion. We accept resolution 24-20.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Rojas to accept resolution 24-20. Sounds like a second from Peyton. Any further discussion before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the approval of resolution 24-20. All those in favor, Swick,
Aye.
Peyton,
Aye.
Keithley,
Aye.
Langbart,
Aye.
Rojas.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 5-0, and that is resolution 24-20. That is passed. Okay, that was we made pretty quick work of that tonight. That brings us to item N, the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So good news at the top. We did receive our notice of intent to award for Jackliffe Bay Dock PIDP grant. That award amount is in the amount of $2,376,646. They sent out a slew of emails at the end of last week and beginning of this week, and we have a grant program kickoff meeting scheduled for tomorrow and Thursday. Rather large environmental review process to go through. They already sent us the packet. And so full steam ahead on that one as well. And we'll keep you updated. We also had a chance to speak with an engineering firm that we've worked with previously, who's excited about this project, and we'll be looking at potentially putting out a request for proposals for a management firm as this project moves forward. So you'll see that come up, but I imagine it's probably be about 6 to 8 months, they say, for the grant application to be, or for the grant agreement to be executed. But we know that we have a tight deadline, and we're just going to work as hard and fast as possible to get it going. CDBG raw water transmission line replacement project. I just wanted to put this in there that if the resolution passed tonight, just an awareness, if I'm not responsive this week, it's not you, it's me. And that'll be my primary focus. But I've already got a good start on it. So it's just a matter of buttoning it up. Other projects in the immediate works, just so you guys know what's taking our time and what we are just really focused on in the office is, as I just mentioned, we have a PIDP environmental review coming up and pre-award requirements. So we'll be filtering through those. We also have an environmental review for the Seldovia Sluice Sewer Project State Revolving Fund Program that's due, or that will be due. Raw water transmission line replacement project, CDBG. Sorry, I have that on there twice because I just mentioned that. Personnel policy review and discussion, received the review from legal at the end of last week. I'm going to push it through staff for a final review. That it's important to have their buy-in and agreement, since it will change some of the things in our policy. So to have them on board for those changes is a requirement. And then hoping to have a work session with council to discuss those changes and be able to put an ordinance forward to approve the personnel policy. AML Local Government Conference is December 4th through the 8th. I did attach a schedule at the end of this packet for any council member, or an agenda for any council member who wishes to attend. There's the affiliate association conference at the beginning of the week. So the clerks, they have a great work session about work-life balance scheduled for Sunday, because that's how clerks are. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday will be the clerks conference. Monday and Tuesday. Monday is a newly elected officials training that goes through parliamentary procedure and some of the rules and responsibilities of a council member. If anybody's interested in person, that'll happen that Monday, December 4th. There's also a virtual training, NEO training, on Wednesday, November 29th. And that's online. If anybody's interested, please let us know. We can get you signed up for that. And the Conference of Mayors is Tuesday, December 5th. And then the AML regular meeting will be Wednesday through Friday. So I'll be out that week to attend that conference, and Liz a portion of it, and certainly let us know if anybody else is interested, and we can get you registered ASAP. The new refuse truck has arrived. It's sitting behind me. If you guys are here, I'd say go take a look at it. But when you get back in town or are available during your day, definitely let us know if you're interested. The refuse crew had a chance to look at it today. I saw Greg, and he's pretty excited for Wednesday. So it's got a nice dump bed on it. It's got a pretty big capacity. I'm looking forward to seeing how much time it takes them to collect and dump that refuse, but I have a feeling it's going to be quite the change for the better, at least. Warning sirens. I know there were some things on Facebook about some of the testing happening this last week. And speaking with Brenda from the borough, they sent a crew over, or we're sending a crew over just to install some new equipment and work on a decibel test. I don't think it was intended for the community response at that point in time, but curious to see if people did hear it. Our harbor master said she did when she stepped outside, but she also has a repeater on the top of her building. So the big audible test is scheduled for December. They have been doing daily quiet tests, is how that siren works now. And so they can see every day they get a report that it's working. And I think that even though it's working, that probably still has some bugs to work out, which is why they keep sending crews over to work on it. But when that test happens in December, I'll be sure to let everybody know, and we'll put out some information in partnership with KPBOM and Seldovia Village Tribe, just to let people know that to report back what they heard to KPBOM. Tsunami inundation zone mapping and brochure. I did meet with Brett Higman and Mark Ball last week. We seem to be the brochure crew, and that's been fun working with them. One of the questions that came up in this mapping process and designating an evacuation line for the brochure based on the inundation line mapping provided from UAF in the state of Alaska was, is this going to impact homeowners insurance and property owners insurance? I spoke with AMLJAA. I spoke with a couple other insurance companies. I really couldn't get a solid answer. Finally, somebody sent me back to the state, spoke with Anthony, and he did assure me that at this point in time, the brochures are not considered regulatory. With the new Cook Inlet mapping that came out, there has been some interest. Girdwood, there's two examples. Girdwood, for one, has wanted to utilize the brochure and mapping to deter some development happening in the area. And they've been told the brochure is not regulatory. That's not what it's for. So I don't know. I don't think they're going to be able to move forward with that. But if that changes, Anthony will let us know. And then the municipality of Anchorage is also looking into this with their legal department to make sure that there isn't anything that would be imposed on them regulatory from the brochure. But at this point in time, it hasn't had any impact on individuals. And that's the state stance for the moment. I'll let you know if it changes, but we're hoping to have a draft out in February for people to review with that map and the language. They're a fun team, and we have some notes and comments on previous brochures, and I think we're going to have a really great product that comes out of it. I did attend a KPED city manager meeting, or a city manager meeting that was hosted by KPED last Friday, November 3rd. I guess it was a Friday before. This was put on, KPED wanted to bring the city managers of the Kenai Peninsula Borough together. So it was, Seward was not able to attend, but it was Homer, Soldotna, Kenai, Kachemak. City had their mayor there, myself. I was supposed to fly in, but the weather didn't cooperate, so I was able to do it online, which was really great. The big focus of the meeting was on maricultural opportunities in the area. It sounds like there's a lot of funding available if there are people that are interested in doing some mariculture, kelp farming, oyster farming, those kind of opportunities. And I am in touch with an individual from one of the corporations up there, just to see how we can get that word out to the community and explore it a little bit further for Seldovia. And with that, the borough mayor was not able to attend, and so a follow-up meeting has been scheduled for Friday, December 15th. Mayor Michicki confirmed that he'd be available, and the thought and intent being to get all the city managers and the mayor in a room and just talk about what our priorities are, what it looks like moving forward. You know, I did hear the word tax thrown around a few times. I know Soldotna is looking at introducing a bed tax. Their vice mayor has been working hard on that. KPB is looking at potentially a sin tax. Just some different things that are coming up. So good to keep an eye on that and see where that heads. And I'll let you know as that progresses. And planning on hopefully attending that one in person, but we know weather and daylight, it doesn't always work. So if not, hopefully it can be virtual as well. Upcoming potential council work sessions, just to keep on your radar. And this is the time of year where we normally do a council priorities work session. I'm hoping, and you guys let me know if I'm off base here, that with all of this talk about our CIP and our priorities from this last year, that maybe this can be a smaller work session instead of a full day or half day. Hopefully before the December meeting, we could do a council priorities work session and get those set up for the next year, utilizing the CIP as a tool for that. And then we would traditionally hold an annual council training work session, or invite down our local government specialists to hold a session, or utilize AMLs. I'm thinking this year it may be beneficial if we just utilize AMLs if people are interested. However, if you'd like us to hold an in-person council training work session, or to invite our LGS down, please let me know and we can pursue that. City personnel handbook work session. As I mentioned, we are in the final process of that. It could be held in January unless you guys want to try for a work session sooner. And the last one being the historic boardwalk and Fulmore Avenue motorized access. This one keeps getting pushed off the agenda because there's so much pertinent business that's happening every meeting, and it needs a lot more conversation and work. And going through this last agenda, I had the thought that maybe because knowing it needs more work, that it would be more beneficial to have it in a work session form. But if you guys would rather see it on the December agenda, let me know. Otherwise, we can also shoot for January, or hold a standalone work session for it in December. So we'll start reaching out to council members for scheduling for some of these items, and definitely let us know if you have any preferences. And with that, moving in just to our regular project and activity updates, we did send out the technical correction request. The Geskimo has been disposed of. It's gone. It's at the landfill. Staffing, I want to say welcome aboard Melody Hall. She's our new AMHS ticket agent and line handler. She has helped out fill in that capacity in the past. She's also helped out with refuse, senior meals, and custodian. So she's fairly familiar with with city business, and will be a good fit. That happened between meetings. We posted a position, we filled the position, and our staffing is full once again. Commercial business district subcommittee schedule. There's a commercial business district subcommittee meeting scheduled for this Wednesday. The agenda is and packet has the intent for them to go through the land use table specific to the commercial business district, and provide feedback for those land uses and their status of permitted, not permitted, secondary. We also had some questions about how property taxes work in that district. And Clerk Diamond and myself had a great meeting with KPB assessor Adina Wilcox today. Just for your guys' information, because I found this very useful to hear. all of Seldovia, all of the property in Seldovia, as in the land, is considered residential when they are assessing. It's either residential or it's remote. And then it's the improvements assessed value is based on the buildings and its use. So when they know that there's a sale, they send out a survey, and that survey helps them create a model and utilize that model for assessing that property in the future. And then whenever that happens, they try to come over during that year, and any new buildings, anything that's been reported that's changed, any change of hands, they'll reassess. Otherwise, it's all on a 5-year schedule. With that in mind, if your building is, built for a commercial purpose, is utilized for a commercial purpose, then they utilize a nationwide firm, and then do an appreciation. They do an evaluation of the building a little bit differently because they have a local model that they can use that along with market value, and then do a depreciation on top of it. Buildings that have mixed use, that are residential and commercial, they can determine by square footage. It's all done by square footage. So if you have a residential, it doesn't matter if you're in the commercial business district, if you're in a residential district, whatever district you're in, the assessed value is supposed to be per square footage of what is being utilized. So even she said like malls, like they have the malls in Soldotna. If you think about all those different stores and departments in there, each store has a different code for what type of business it is. And then that is what is used to determine the assessed value. So kind of a complex system. Seldovia has been a little bit different because, as she said, she rarely ever sees surveys returned. She's maybe had 5 in like the last 5 years with all the sales and turnover. And she recommended if Seldovia wanted to be more involved in the assessing portion of our mill rate, we set the rate, they don't set the rate, they just assess for us, that we can encourage individuals to fill out those surveys and send them in, because that really helps them. The last thing I was going to say, because it relates back to the commercial business district, and we'll talk about that in that meeting, is that they're talking a lot about nightly rentals and long-term residential rentals. And according to the assessing department, if it's a dwelling unit, they don't care what it's used for. So fourplex, duplex, single home, it's all residential. So it doesn't matter where you are in the city. They're not looking at districts. They're just looking at use of the building, and those surveys help. Lastly, I will say that I was forewarned that the borough itself has been going through a big implementation of a new tax assessing model. And I don't know if you guys remember hearing a few years ago when it happened in Homer, when it was implemented in Homer, how many complaints there were because this new model now it takes into account waterfront access, views, if the lots have electricity, if they have driveways, they have, a whole list of things that they're looking at when they assess that previously they did not. And Seldovia is one of the last communities to have that implementation, and we'll see it in March. So definitely everybody look at your assessed values when that comes out, because there should be a change. And if you have any questions or issues, you can appeal that back to the borough assessing department or get a hold of them. And you can always let me know as well, because I'm happy to learn, even though they're the regulatory authority there. So with that, city awning repair, we did sign a contract with Dillon & Dillon, and they ordered materials. We're just waiting for those to arrive so that the work can begin. BPSO updates, Michael Nemeth, the API Public Safety Coordinator, will be in Seldovia. I said maybe, but it's weather weather depending, he should be here Wednesday, November 15th. So if any of you want to meet him in person while he's here, he is the direct supervisor for Jared and Amy, our VPSOs. I'll be meeting with him. He has a meeting with Seldovia Village Tribe. We'll get him out and about and give some introductions. Let me know, and we'll schedule a meeting. I'm sure he'd love to meet you guys. Upper Alder to Shoreline Drive is closed. It's gotten really slick. It's just a dangerous area to maintain, so we close that off every winter. Alaska State Fire Marshal inspection, we sent off all those corrections and with the required repairs, and it's been closed, so we are good on the up and up with them again. Water service connection inventory, Todd Cook was able to visit over Halloween and worked very diligently for 2 days, getting us set up and getting a lot of the information already entered for our water service connection inventory. He's willing to come back next month, as well as he was showing Jordan some of those requirements. He's been doing it for the city of Homer. They have over 2,000 services. In fact, with their properties that have abandoned lines in it, it's more, almost 3,000. So he's pretty well versed in this. Outhouses were pumped. An extra 400 gallons of material was taken from the outside beach porta potty, but he wasn't able to take everything due to the trash in the porta potty. So we have an extra brown can that we moved from City Park this fall, and we're gonna put that up front along with more cans inside each facility with some signage to really discourage people from dumping trash into the porta potty. As it is, that's a pretty big mess and a pretty expensive. We don't have a place to put it at this point, so we'll have to work through that. But I'm going to try to encourage good habits and have that trash readily available. Drainage map and stormwater management plan. We are holding stakeholder meetings and held one with the Seldovia Village Tribe last week. We will have one with ADOT this week, and they're moving ahead with the draft mapping that should be available in the spring. And then everything else is pretty much just status quo as discussed at the last meeting.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Heidi. Lots of information. Any questions or comments from anyone for the city manager? Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Heidi, for the report. Item O, informational items not requiring action. Seldovia City offices will be closed Thursday, November 23rd and Friday, November 24th in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday. And November 27th, Seldovia City Council regular meeting will be canceled unless needed. And then obviously we'll know probably by in the next week or something, Heidi, if we need to have that.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'm not anticipating it unless anything urgent comes up. But like I said, we may sneak a work session in there if council's open and willing. It would be nice to get through this personnel policy and the priorities, but doesn't have to happen that week, just maybe sometime in that end of November, early December.
Okay, sounds good. Item P, executive session, none. Item Q, council and mayor comments concerning items not on the agenda. Swick?
No comment.
Peyton?
Well done, Heidi. You are crushing it. You're so amazing. Every time I look at our laydowns and our packets, I'm just astounded at what you guys managed to accomplish. I wish I had something more intelligent to say about your report. I had all these notes, but man, so comprehensive. You're wonderful.
Okay, thank you. Keithley?
No comment.
Langbart?
No comment.
And Rojas?
Just a big thank you to everyone for all your work you do. And Heidi, great a report from you, keeping us updated. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Yep, same to me. Just thanks to the staff for keeping things rolling down there. Appreciate everything. And Yeah, that's all for me. And then next meeting will be, right now, will be scheduled to be held on December 11th, 2023 at 6 p.m. And I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have
Second.
a second? All right, we have a motion to adjourn in a second. Any objections? All right, hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Okay, have a good evening. Thanks, you guys. Appreciate it.